Alright, what's up everyone? Welcome back. I know it's been a minute since I posted anything, but I do have something I want to talk about today, and that's a build I've been playing here lately. I'm playing a Warbringer using Siege Cascade for clear and Stormblast bolts for single target. But before I get into the build, I wanted to talk about how I got here because it wasn't really a fleshed out, planned build. And I did get some really good information from other content creators, and I want to make sure to give those guys credit. So what I like to do at the end of the league is mess around with some different skills, see if there's anything I missed out on. It might be fun to play, and sometimes maybe even look to see if there's something I might want to do as a league start for the upcoming league, barring any changes, obviously. So for this, what I wanted to do was I wanted to play a cold Siege Cascade build so that I could get those good pops, those satisfying pops from Herald of Ice. And what I decided to do was roll the Tactician to take advantage of the pin buildup that the Ascendancy offers. So I rolled one up. I used Permafrost bolts to level up until it was time to get Siege Cascade, and then, once I deemed 52, I was ready to try out my new skill. I didn't look before rolling up the character, but the tooltip does say that Siege Cascade can't build freeze. But I was still able to get shatters, so I kept on leveling. And looking back, I think it was because I did have cold damage and was using Pulsar Kiln, and I think that's what enabled the Herald of Ice to work. But it was working, it just didn't quite have the clear that I was looking for. So I went and did some research to see if I could get a little more clear out of the Herald of Ice. And I found a video by WIP Gaming where he talked about a Korean player named Aste. I'm not sure how to say that name. But that creator was using a warrior and armor break to chain Herald of Ice. I don't really like mace gameplay, but I wanted to see if I could get it to work on a crossbow build. So I went ahead and rolled up a warrior. I finished the campaign in between 8 and 9 hours. It really doesn't take that long if you already have the gear and the gems waiting on you as you level, and you don't have to worry about picking anything up. You can just blast through the campaign. So that's what I did. But as I was leveling, I kept thinking about what I wanted to do for single target, since Siege Cascade was going to be for clear. Now, I had already played shock burst rounds in this league and even in .2, so I really didn't want to do that again. And just messing around with the different skills, and then I remembered a video I saw a couple months ago at the beginning of the league by someone named Eldon Saul, where he used Stormblast bolts and explosive shot for detonation. And so I went ahead and tried it out, and it ended up being a really strong combo. Hopefully GGG doesn't nerf it in .4. All right, so we're in game. Just going to take a super quick look at the skills that I'm using, and a little reason behind some of the gem choices. So Voltaic Grenade, really just to apply shock to bosses and harder elites. Go through the gems super quick: multi-shot, elemental armament, shock, cooldown, and short fuse. So Stormblast bolts, elemental armament, concentrated area, lightning attunement, rapid attacks, and deliberation. Explosive shot, rapid attacks, elemental armament, projectile acceleration, lightning attunement, and nimble reload. Now, I think this one has definitely a few flex gems that you can put in there. So whatever your preference is, I think it's okay to slot in those. Siege Cascade, I do have specific gems in here for me to make it feel a little bit more comfortable when using it. So I use double barrel 3, which makes it automatically reload whenever heavy stunning an enemy. It doesn't happen on every single one, but it happens frequently enough that it makes the mapping feel a little smoother. And to go with that, I have stun 2, which just increases the stun buildup. And then elemental armament, projectile acceleration, and cold attunement. And for the spirit gems, so these are the ones that I set up according to the video talking about the chaining. So armor explosion, freeze, armor demolisher, elemental armament, and magnified effect. Now this is why we chose the Warbringer, because all hit damage breaks armor, and that helps trigger the armor explosion, which sort of sets this whole chain effect off. And then Herald of Thunder is going to be the same setup, except instead of freeze, we're going to have shock in there. And then Wind Dancer, I like to make it a little more defensive, or sorry, more offensive than defensive. And so I put in elemental armament, cold attunement, freeze, and cold penetration. And then Voltaic Mark just to help shock and increase the magnitude of that shock. And then Nimble, or emergency reload. That's just to get a little bit more damage at the beginning of a fight. Hit that, and then unload all of your Stormblast bolts for a little extra damage. For the gear, like I said, I don't have anything special. It's definitely can be improved a lot. Like I have, like even this belt's pretty old. But you do want a pulsar kiln, and that's going to help trigger Herald of Ice and get the chain going. I am using Leopold's, but you don't have to. That's entirely up to you. I had it from another build, so I'm using it. And then super quick look at the tree. So really, we went Warbringer for this specific node. So all of our hit damage is going to break armor. And then we, of course, we have some increased armor. And then the second ascendancy is pretty easy, so I went ahead and did it. And I got Encase in Jade. I don't use the active ability from it. I really just use it for the passive physical damage reduction. And then, obviously, as you can see, I didn't do my third or fourth ascendancy because, none of these are going to help us out. We're not using war cries, and we're not using a shield. Super quick look. I will post my PoE 2 Ninja profile so that you can go and take a look. There could be some efficiencies found here, but this is what I currently have at like level 89, I think 88, 89. So yeah, that's the build. It's been a lot of fun. It's been fun trying to figure it out and make it work. And yeah, anyway, I think that's it for me. If you stayed this long, thank you, and I will see you next time.